Hello there, everyone. How are you today? So good to be here with you. A little bit of a late start, but that's okay. All of his mothers have had a great Mother's Day weekend, yes? All right, let's get you all pulled up here on the screen and connect you over, and we will be good to go. Here we go. All right. There we go. Okay, all set. How are you doing today? For those of you who are joining for the very first time, welcome. My name is Patricia Hayes. I'm an executive advisor and empowerment coach and authentic networking strategist. And I just love helping people to achieve at their next level, to be fully empowered as executives, as professionals, as entrepreneurs, and helping their teams in order to build out their goals, achieve them at the levels that they want to, while also connecting authentically with their coworkers, all of those people that are important to everything around them, right? So a lot of words for saying I help empower people to achieve at their highest levels and to connect authentically within their relationships professionally. We are in the middle of May, and we do themes, and this month's theme is on executive presence. And I'm really excited about this one. And as we talked about last week, we talked about mindset when you're trying to get to a new level. Because when you're talking about executive presence, we're talking about up-leveling your skills so that you can walk into rooms fully prepared, whether it's to speak, whether it's to engage in discussion, whether it's to present, or literally, what if it's just to be a person of influence, a thought leader, where you're engaging in a way where people are looking to you for advice and direction. And so executive presence, as we talked about then, is really just about, or not just, but all about your level of confidence and how you carry yourself in those various audiences, whether they're with your peers, whether they're with a team that you lead, or whether they're with your superiors or C-level folks that you want to be one day. It's about how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, so that you can be effective and gain the confidence of those varying audiences whenever you need to. And so that means we have to up level. And it means also we have to get past our whatever blocks we have about being in that space. So that's what we talked about last week. You're welcome to go back and check it out on the YouTube channel or right here on this Facebook business page. This week, as we move along and talking about executive presence, we're talking about, the theme is birds of a feather, identifying your new networking flock. And this is super important when it comes to up-leveling who you are professionally so that you can engage at the levels that you want to. It's now time to know and to move into identifying and working with people at the next level. Those folks that you want to be a part of, or that you need to be a part of in order to accomplish your next level goals. So we'll talk a little bit more about that more specifically. But the reality is that when you are up-leveling your career and professional presence, you must up-level your crowd. And that's going to sound a little snotty to some people and be put off, but it's the truth, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what it is you're doing. If you are trying to get to a next level, at some point in time, you have to shift and start engaging with a different crowd of folks if you are going to achieve at that new level that you're trying to get to. Now, we're talking about this. This doesn't mean that you exclude or abandon people, that you've engaged with before. No, it means your relationships with them may shift. It also means that some of those folks will carry along with you, right? It all depends on whether they're friends and family versus their professional colleagues and all of that. But it does mean that you have to include more people who are different Okay, that's really what we're talking about. When you're improving and gaining and building out your executive presence when it comes to your professional relationships, you have to include more people. You have to move in a different crowd. And that is what we're talking about today. So, number one, the first point when you're talking about identifying your new networking flock, when you're building your executive presence and trying to get to that next level, is first you have to look for those who will help you challenge your comfort zone. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are trying to build out $1 million business, or if you are trying to get that $500,000 project, you cannot get that talking to your family members unless your family members happen to be $1 million business owners. Okay? So that means you have to move beyond those friends and family or those close colleagues who are great people. They can very well be great people, but they don't know what it takes in order to get to that next level, to run $1 million business. What are the obstacles along the way? Yeah, they can talk about what they think, but they don't know because they've never done it. So what does that mean is you have to find people who are challenged. So there's a couple of ways to do that. Mentors, of course, and sponsors. Of course, we've talked about those people before. Mentor being someone who you go to seek to get some advice from, who can lead you in another way, versus a sponsor who is someone who literally like adopts you and takes you into the rooms that you need to be in. Okay, those are a couple of options. Because those people will push you, they will question you. Others may be, you may have a professional colleague who is very close to you personally as well, that is more of an accountability partner than a work friend. Does that make sense? And so when you have that person, that is someone who will challenge you as well. So think about that. If you have an accountability partner for professional purposes, or if you don't, then to get one and figure out who fits that role in your life. The other piece is literally putting yourself in the place, which we'll talk about in just a second, of those who will challenge you to begin with, right? If you again are hanging out with people who make $75,000 a year, which is a great salary, but that's not what's going to get someone who's trying to go after $1 million business, right? So you have to start seeking out and look for those people who will challenge you. The way that this got explained to me one time, and it's always stuck with me, is, and it's just so powerful, is that when you are up-leveling, if you get to a point and there are a lot of people who are pulling at you for advice, for direction, right? But you don't have anyone to pull from, you're in the wrong room. It's time to switch rooms, because you are now in the room or in the space where people are looking to you as leadership and direction. And that's fantastic, right? But when it comes time for you to up level, you can't get what you need from those folks below you professionally. You need someone new. You need to go into a room where you are the new person looking up. And that gets a whole lot into some ego and some, challenging mindset pieces, but that is what it takes, okay? So you definitely want to look for those who will help you challenge your comfort zone, all right? So we talked about mentors, sponsors, accountability partners, and new folks who we're going to talk about next. So secondly, it may require that you find, or it does require that you find those who are positioned where you want to go. All right, there we go. Sorry for the blip, you all, because we are in the internet phase, and you know what happens. It pops out sometimes, especially when it's overcast. Okay, so we were talking about point number 2, which is that when you are looking to identify your new networking flock as you build forward, as you up level, and you want to establish a new executive presence for where you're wanting to go professionally, is that you have to find those people who are positioned where you want to go. And that's just sport. That's a spinoff from what we just talked about, because now we're specifically talking about going after that particular crowd of people, that group of people, that audience that is where you want to be. Okay, so if you want, again, using our $1 million business, example, if you want to be a $1 million business owner, then you need to go seek out some $1 million business owners. And yes, that may make your stomach twirl and be like, oh my God, I can't. But guess what? You're never going to know what it takes until you start talking to them, until you start putting yourself in the room with them. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about how you can make that happen. If you are in a professional role, in an organization, and you want to achieve and you want to be, a VP, an assistant VP, whatever, guess what you need to do? You need to start putting yourself in places where you are engaging with VPs and assistant VPs. Okay, so there are all kinds of ways that you can do this when you're talking about doing it. A perfect way is associations. It's a way, and professional groups. That's what I'm talking about. So if there are membership associations, membership groups that you can join where you go and you attend conferences, seminars, lunches, all of that starts showing up. What does that mean? It means some investment on your part. If your office will not pay for it, then guess who gets to pay for it? You all know, or if you don't know me yet, you will find out I am a huge advocate for investing in your own professional development. It doesn't matter what the office will pay for. If they will pay for it, fantastic. If they won't, then you take the personal leave and you go pay for it for yourself. Been there, done that. Okay? I invest heavily in coaching, even to this day. It has not always been easy. It has definitely been a struggle, especially as an entrepreneur who has shifted in her field in the last 5 years. So yeah, there have definitely been some difficult times, but I've always continued to invest in professional development, not in the ways where I was. I mean, I still do my CLE for legal purposes because I want to keep my license active, right? And that's a requirement of it. However, I'm not spending thousands of dollars on a higher level CLE. I'm doing what I need to do to get by on that because I'm not actively practicing in those areas right now. Those are supplemental for me. What I am investing in is coaching, is in mindset, CEO development, coaching that involves setting up business organizations online, all of that. That is what I'm investing in because guess what? That's the space I want to be in. So I have to go find the people and go hang out with them. I hang out with them in the Facebook groups that I find. I join new organizations around town, all of that. Or I leverage organizations that I've been in for years and start engaging with people in a new way. Okay, there's so many different ways to do that. All right, there are organizations, there are activities that I've been a part of for some time, but I've moved from being, a senior level government administrator to a university, C-suite person, to owner of a lobby firm, to now this executive coaching piece. And I'm still engaging with my folks, but I'm engaging with them a different way. I'm making different asks. I'm getting different introductions. All right. So that's how you can manage this process. So, we all have our little moments when we have to binge watch a show. And I hadn't binge watched this $1 million listings New York in a while because I didn't even know it was still on. So there I was over Mother's Day weekend, binge watching it for the first time in a while. And guess what I got? A fantastic quote. First of all, it is a great lesson to sit and observe when you actually sit and observe and watch what the actions and the activities that are going on and what these realtors and brokers are actually engaging in, the behaviors, the mindsets, all of that stuff. It's fantastic stuff to watch from that perspective. So if you're interested, it's always that. But here it was like timed for today's session because one of the brokers, whose name is Tyler Whitman, He said, if you want to level up, you have to surround yourself with people at the level you want to get to. Perfect. It says it in a nutshell. It is so true. And he was talking about this in the context of there was a realtor with a broker with way more experience than him that he kind of clashed with at first, but he realized he needed to pull back because this is someone who he could learn a lot from because he wants to be at the level that that person is in. So he shifted his mindset, he shifted how he interacted with that person and put him in a position of learning, of being someone who can teach him something about the business so that he can one day be in that position. And that was it. He goes, I gotta put myself around those folks. Okay? And yeah, it may look like you're making some mistakes sometimes or like you don't know something, but guess what? That's the whole point. You have to learn. Most of this does not come to anyone automatically. It just doesn't. You have to learn. You have to learn how to speak better. You have to learn how to engage with others better. You have to learn how to communicate better. You have to learn how to hold presence in a room when you're making a presentation. All right. There are some things that are more natural for some people than other, but no one gets it all right all the time right off the bat. It's just not true. It's just not true. It was so funny. I was watching, and I need to finish it, but there was a recent interview of TD Jakes talking about his new book, Don't Drop the Mic, I think is what it's called. And he was talking about, because, you know, the person who was interviewing him was saying, you know, like, you know, you're just a masterful public speaker, and what do you do? And he was, I study. He's like, what? And he was like, I study speakers all the time. He goes, and it doesn't mean that they have to be, because he's a well-known a speaker and pastor and all of that. He goes, but it's not about that. I watch them. I study them. He goes, I study great litigators. I study great public leaders and all of these folks around. He goes, and I listen to what they're saying, and I listen to the tempo that they assume at different times in their presentations, whatever. He goes, and then I adapt it for myself and I grow. So powerful, so powerful. Because what he has done is just what I described, which is he has put himself virtually, probably, in the setting of these great public speakers. And he's listening and he's learning and he's adapting. And so now he is this wonderful public speaker himself and presenter and powerful in his presentations. But it's all because he continues to study, right? So that's that thing. When you are ready to level up, it requires engagement on your part. It requires a commitment, and it requires action. And part of that action is making sure that you find your people, your new people, and you start engaging with them. Okay? All right. So that's the second thing. Third of all, be open to receiving next level connections from unexpected places and opportunities. This is important too, because this means you have to be sitting, you have to leave yourself open, right? Don't close yourself off. Don't make assumptions when you get introduced to someone that, oh, they're nice, but they're not relevant to me. I literally just had this happen to me last week when I had gotten approached by one of my former mentees who is doing quite well for herself and asked me to consider an opportunity. And so I was like, well, I'm happy to get on the phone and talk about it. So we got on the phone and catch up. And the woman who got on the phone with us, who's going to do the introductions and all of that, we start talking and whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I just realized this is someone I can learn from. That I'm sitting here listening to her. I'm supposed to be here talking about something that they want from me. And I'm like, how can I get on your calendar? Because I need to talk to you about a few issues. Totally unexpected, was not planned. That was not the purpose. But I immediately recognized that this is someone who has knowledge and resources that I need to tap into in order to take my business to the next level. There's a certain aspect of things that I need to tap into, and this person has the background and the expertise to help get me there. And guess what? So I asked. I was like, can we get coffee? Can we do virtual coffee or whatever? And she was like, absolutely. That's it. It was literally that simple. But you have to leave yourself open. You have to listen for the opportunities. You have to keep an eye out for them. And then, what did I say? Take action. Don't be afraid to move forward and make the ask. Make the ask. Ask for coffee. Ask to, can we set up a separate call? Can I get on your schedule? Can I get on your calendar? Whatever those things are so that you can move forward. Okay? Now, here's the note. In all of this, when we're talking about moving forward, up-leveling, getting a new flock of people that we engage with, I said to start, and I will end as well, that does not automatically mean that everyone you've engaged with before disappears. That's not how it works. And that's not how I build out networks. You know this. That's not how I build up professional relationships. Because when you build out professional relationships that are sustainable in nature, then they can carry you through multiple iterations of yourself, multiple iterations of them, so that you can come back and connect to be like, hey, I see that's what you're doing right now. What do you need? How can I help you? Okay? Now, that said, there are also going to be people who do actually drop off. You may continue to try to reach out to them and they're not receptive. Or others who may decide that you're not receptive to them. Vice versa. It happens. Sometimes it can be a little hurtful because you can be like, well, I thought we had a better relationship with that. But guess what? No need to fret, right? Appreciate, be grateful for the relationship that you had, and be open to it reigniting at some point should that be appropriate. But don't let that hold you back from going to the next level. And I say this because this absolutely comes up with anyone who is ready to get to the next level in their career, who is ready to take their business to the next level, is that you get to this point, and this is some of that mindset stuff that we talked about last week, but you get to this point and you're like, oh, but it's that whole fear of leaving someone behind. Guess what? Maybe you're not leaving them behind. Maybe you're just trying to get to a point so that you can help them get there when it's time for them to get there. But somebody's got to get there. You can't get there with your both hanging out. That crab in the barrel whole analogy, man, that's a fascinating thing. Have you actually ever seen that? Where there's crabs trying to get out and there are literally crabs below pulling at them, pulling their limbs to keep them from getting out. Okay? It may not be that way physically, but emotionally and mentally, it can definitely seem that way. It comes up a lot for people, mostly with family and friends. Sometimes with colleagues, but you deal with them a little bit differently. But definitely with your closer relationships, which may be some professional ones, right? Because those folks may not be ready for the shift that you are making, that you are in the process of making. But that does not mean that you stop investing in your growth or that you stop trying to get to the next level and engaging with those people who will be beneficial to you so that you can learn what you need to learn in order to be successful. Don't stop doing it. So I guess I should say it in the positive instead of the negative, which is continue to take the actions that you need to in order to grow. All right? That is not a bad thing. Everyone is not ready. Everyone will not stick it out with you. I'm just going to be frank and honest and give it to you like it is. But like I said, that does not mean you should not continue doing what you're doing, because you absolutely should. It will be worth it. Okay? So that is my word of encouragement and go get them for you today. Think about what your birds of a feather look like right now. Identifying what that new flock needs to look like. Who are the types of people that you need to engage in? First of all, remember, you have to know what your new goal is. All right. If you don't know what your goal is or where you're trying to get to, then this is a fruitless exercise. But make sure you clearly identify what your next role and goal is. And then who are the types of people, types of organizations, all of those things that play into that could be helpful to you getting to that next level. And when you identify who and what those things are, then make a plan to get there. And for those of you who are like, I don't know how to do that, give me a call. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do. Okay? All right. It's been great. This week, you get a twofer on the networking discussion because on Wednesday is when we do Authentic Networking edition of Coffee Time Career Chat. It is recorded, so it will be posted for Wednesday at 10 a.m. so that you can catch it. And as always, if you've missed a previous episode, you can go check out the YouTube channel and catch up on all of those things. Absolutely feel free to reach out to me. There's lots of great things coming your way. I'm going to be hosting another masterclass at the end of this month, as well as a new workshop in June with a new program coming out by the end of the summer. So lots of good stuff coming your way, and I'm super excited about it, and I look forward to it. If you or someone you know needs some help with your career shifts, with building out the relationships professionally that you need in order to get there, please send them my way. I'm happy to set up a call. We can get you on my calendar and we can have a chit chat about what that looks like for you. Okay? So take care, enjoy the start to your week, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.